Welcome to Wednesday. It's another edition of Litter Media Live here on Litter Media Facebook.
That's correct.
I'm Dan Ramey. He's Mike Smith. Aaron Glandon in the wings. Better than in the wings than in the wind.
I think there's something to that, and I'm not sure where it's going.
Well, if he's in the wind, he's not there to push the buttons for us today.
I see.
So that'd be the way you look at that, I guess. We've got some things to share with you today. I have some baseball news that we'll get to here a little bit later on.
Okay.
So get ready for that if you're a baseball fan. So that's all just ahead here in a matter of moments. We want to start off with a look at the forecast. You're saying there may be some snow in the forecast?
I am almost hesitant to say, but yes, partly sunny today and tomorrow. High today 41, 37 for Thursday, clouds and 39 on Friday. And yes, they're talking about the possibility of some accumulating precipitation on Saturday. Somebody just posted on Facebook 3 to 6 inches, but that's not official. That's just somebody maybe in their wishful thinking, but. And it could be...
That's somebody that got a sled for Christmas.
Could be Southern Ohio will get rain and north of Columbus will get snow. So, you know, the days are getting longer again.
They are.
So we're on the...
Slowly.
On the right side of the hill, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so get ready. We've got news, sports, and this date in history all just ahead coming up. But first, we want to tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. If you've got an issue with those utilities in your home, you need to get it taken care of. And Accurate can take care of it for you. They've been doing it for almost 50 years. Reach out to them by clicking on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com. For those of you listening on Litter Media Radio, just go to accuratehvac.com for Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. News is next.
You haven't had vodka soda like this. No one has. Made with the world's smoothest vodka plus real juice. New White Claw Vodka Soda.
Each week, Litter Media presents the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Player of the Week. If you have an athlete to nominate, any amateur athlete is eligible. Simply visit littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. At the end of the year, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Make your nominations now at littermedia.com. Click on Player of the Week.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
For local news, you can always check out our website, littermedia.com. We have some teasers for you on our social media, Facebook, as well as LitterX, formerly Twitter. Mm-hmm. But also, you can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. Did you hear that four-letter word? Free.
Free.
We had the four-letter word of snow earlier, but I like free better.
I do too.
Than snow. Yeah. What's making news for us today?
Yeah, 2 area hospitals have welcomed the first babies born in 2024 with a baby girl at Adena Regional Medical Center in Chillicothe and a baby boy at Ohio Health Burger at Circleville. Abigail and Devontae Kennedy welcomed their daughter, Freya Jean Ann Kennedy, into the world at 3:56 p.m. New Year's Day. I think we've got them on the left. Is that right, Aaron? Producer Aaron? And on the right side, from Ohio Health Burger Hospital in Circleville, that's Weston Hunter James DeSantis. He was born on New Year's Day at 2:33 p.m. to Weston and also, Madison Cox and Noah DeSantis, both of Chillicothe. Congratulations to those first families, I guess you would call them in a way. First families for New Year's Day, anyway.
The first tax deductions.
Yeah, really. So congratulations to both of those families. Ross County Health District has been awarded $182,200 $45 to coordinate Medical Reserve Corps activities in Ohio's southeast central region. The district is one of 8 regional subrecipients chosen by the Ohio Department of Health Bureau of Health Preparedness of the MRC state, territory, and tribal nations representative organizations for next generation regional grant. Now, that's a long title, folks. Basically, the funding will improve public health emergency response and increase Medical Reserve Corps volunteers throughout the region. That includes Ross, Athens, Gallia, Hocking, Jackson, Lawrence, Meigs, Pike, Scioto, and Vinton County. You can get even more information as to what all that means on our website story at littermedia.com. Chillicothe Safety Service Director Jeff Carman has announced the city of Chillicothe will provide Christmas tree pickup service to city residents beginning January 3rd and ending this January the 30th. Third's today, right? Mm-hmm. Christmas trees will be picked up on the same day as your regular garbage pickup. Now, the trees must be live trees, no artificial trees, and they have to have all the decorations and stands removed. The trees should be placed in front of your residence and not blocking the street or sidewalks. Do not place trees in the street. Apparently, they've had that happen a number of times. Now, city residents can also drop the trees off themselves at the Octangy Park Annex. This site is open daily, 7 to 5. In fact, that picture that we have there, Dan took that picture maybe a couple of years ago, and that's exactly...
It looks like a graveyard, doesn't it?
Yeah, really. That's exactly where those trees go in the annex. Now, the neat thing about all of these trees, they are going to be recycled in a way by donating them over to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and they use it for wildlife habitat and even put it in some lakes for the fish.
Right.
To swim around.
If you drive by, for instance, Lake White right now, down in Pike County, where 220 goes right next to it, you can see how the water is down because of, they always, every year they do that. And there are trees lying on their sides, and you see these big clumps of root system. And that's why there is a certain speed limit for boats to go through there, because can you imagine being on a speedboat and then you got this, you're skiing and or even on a ski-doo and you can't see that root system there. Yeah. But that's where fish like to. The schools of fish will get around. They'll hoard around there. Fishermen like to stick their hooks down into those roots and.
Now, the fish aren't the only beneficiaries. Some of the wildlife habitat that benefit are the birds out in the woods where they use it to nest and have their babies for the coming spring or whatever.
Precisely. Yeah. It's the circle of life.
The circle of life. So some neat stuff that your Christmas tree can become. Yeah, how about that?
Your live tree.
Yeah,
or
that's
former
right.
live tree.
Yeah, no artificial trees. And keep them out of the streets. Did I say that already?
You did.
Ross County Auditor Jeff Lehner has invited Ross County property owners who wish to dispute their property valuations to apply for 2024 Board of Revision hearings. State law provides that applications for Board of Revision hearings be filed with the county auditors on or before March 31st each year. Once that deadline has been reached, the auditor's office will review applications to set hearing dates for June and July. And I don't want to pay my property taxes is legit. It has to be the valuation of your property. If you have a question on that's too much, I don't think anybody's going to say, I don't think I'm paying enough. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to say that.
Well, we went through some of that recently in Pike County. I think it was last year about this time. They had gone through the valuation, and it was much different than what it had been, and that raised a lot of eyebrows.
I bet it did. Yeah, bet it did. But that's for those of you here in Ross County. I'm sure Pike County, Pickaway, call your county auditor about the revision hearings in your respective counties. Come see Ross County WIC's Donna Lambert at the next Kinship Connection meeting. That's on Monday, January 22nd from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. That'll be held at the Ohio University Chillicothe Child Development Center. So you young moms that are on the WIC program, if you need some some guidance on what the program does, how the program works, this would be a great opportunity for you to learn more from Donna Lambert on that day.
She's been doing this a long time, and she's raised her own children too, so she's experienced.
Yeah. Here's one maybe from an old buddy of yours, Dan. Ohio University Lancaster Theater is announcing that local celebrity and retired NBC4 news anchor Cabot Ray will appear in this summer's production of Disney's Beauty and the Beast. Ray will play the part of Maurice, which of course is Belle's father, and tickets will go on sale for that this spring. You know Cabot pretty well?
Cabot and I were on a basketball team together in like 1990.
How about that?
We played, there was a celebrity type thing that we played in at Buckeye Boys Ranch. And that's where I actually got to play basketball with Pete Johnson.
Oh.
Ronnie Stokes. Cabot Ray. Yours truly.
Now, Cabot just didn't seem to reach the same level when you mentioned Ronnie Stokes and Pete Johnson. I'm sure Cabot was flattered. But
and I'm positive those guys are like, who are you?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Cabot used to MC the Fall Festival of Leaves Queens pageant before you did.
I can't say yes to that.
It seems like I can
know.
remember them publicizing that because we'd always get a release at the radio station.
Yeah.
And then they fired him and brought in Dan.
There were several people between he and me. If that were the case, I can't remember if he was there or not.
I don't know why I'm thinking that Cabot lives over in the Hocking Hills area.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
He married was it Paul Leach's daughter?
It was somebody here in Chillicothe,
Superintendent Paul Leach back in the 1980s. I want to say that's the connection because I remember there was a newscast where he and Colleen Marshall were talking at the end about his wife was a Cavalette. Mm-hmm. And so Cavalets haven't been around for many years.
Few years.
So.
Yeah. But those are your topics. You can get more, of course, on our website at littermedia.com or our social media pages.
I will tell you that Ronnie Stokes remembered Garen Veris.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
Because I had told him, I said, hey, I'm from Chillicothe, and he says, really? And he says, oh, Chillicothe, me and Troy Taylor, that game was something else. Because he and Troy played at Canton McKinley, and that's who Chillicothe had faced at the Canton Civic Center.
Right.
And it was... I remember listening to Tom Cuppett talk about this, and he says it was like seeing the guys from the Revolutionary War where they got the drummer and they got the guy playing the flute and they're limping along. He says there was guys on crutches coming out of the locker room. It was just a battle in that regional basketball contest. So. The good old days.
Yes, sir.
All right, coming up, a look at sports. We'll share details with you, and we've got some baseball news we'll get to here in just a moment as well. That's coming up, but first, Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you are looking for a way to clean up, but you don't want a bunch of trash cans around, you need a dumpster. Put it all in that dumpster, and then they'll come and they'll haul it all away. And that's whether residential or if it happens to be commercial. If you need a dumpster, you need to call Scioto Valley Dumpsters. The number to call is 740-253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters.
Kingston National Bank was founded in 1909 by local businessmen. The concept of a local bank supporting our community's financial needs with local decisions made sense. This is Phil Evans, President and CEO of Kingston National Bank. I invite you to make KNB your bank. We continue to make local decisions that benefit our communities. Experience innovative products and excellent customer service. When you need us most, you can count on KNB. Our community, your bank. Kingston National Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
At Rathkamp Financial, we provide wealth management services that may ease clients' fears of financial loss and help them retire comfortably. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
Whenever I first applied for the ArchWiz opportunity, do I have to pay this back? Do I have to do that? Like, is it a loan? And it's not. It's a scholarship. A goal of mine is to graduate college debt-free. If you're a crew member, you get $2,500 a year, and if you're a manager, you get $3,000. And especially if you're going locally to college, like to the branch or something like that, it's really helpful.
And if you would like to join the McDonald's crew in Chillicothe, in Circleville, Greenfield, or Waverly, you can meet with the manager today at one of those locations, and they'll do open interviews for you at McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
Sports now.
Most of the schools are back in session as of today, as far as the students are concerned. But a game that was played during this time slot yesterday up at Harvest Prep, boys basketball, Chillicothe falling to Maumee Valley 68-56.
Want to thank Newt Bonner for getting that information to me. He said we hung tough, but late in the game, it kind of got away from them. They were outscored by 10 in the fourth period. So sounds like it was nip and tuck up until the end.
Some other close contest games that you'll find on our LitterMedia.com score page. Jackson edged Wheelersburg by just 3. South Webster boys, they're still undefeated. They beat Vinton County by 11. Washington Courthouse was a big winner. Leesburg Fairfield over Paint Valley. Piketon beat Peebles. Clinton Massey over at McLean. Again, you can go down the list and see more of those scores. Girls basketball, Circleville Lady Tigers stay undefeated. They walloped West Jeff 51-23. Tough loss for Bloom Carroll girls yesterday to Canal Winchester, lost by 1, and Gallia Academy over the Waverly Lady Tigers by 5. Now a big girls matchup tonight at Unioto High School. Amanda Clear Creek at Unioto. Both of those teams are 9-1 on the season, and right there in contention with their respective conferences. Of course, the Lady Aces in the Mid-State and Unioto in the SVC. Former Cleveland Browns great quarterback Frank Ryan has passed away. Ryan led the Browns to their last NFL championship back in 1964. Frank Ryan. I think I saw he was born in 1936, war number 13. Dan was probably too young to remember that, but he was a good one.
In fact, last week when Dan Jr. and I were coming, Danny had surgery on his leg again last week, so I was driving on the way home, and he was scrolling through, and we were talking. I mentioned to him, look up quarterbacks for the Browns. And we went through and we're trying to figure out how many quarterbacks there were and so on and so forth. But then he started asking me Browns trivia, and Frank Ryan kept coming to my brain, and he's like, name the top 5 quarterbacks. I'm like, well, you got to have Otto Graham, you got to have Frank Ryan in there, you got to have Bernie Kosar in there, and Brian Sipe. Those are 4 of the top 5 Browns.
Bill Nelson wasn't in there?
Bill Nelson was in that top 10, but he wasn't.
Wow, because he led them to championship games in 69 and 70. Of course, they lost both games, but Bernie didn't get to the Super Bowl.
But I will tell you that since Flacco has come on, seeing that number 15, I keep thinking Mike Phipps the whole time.
Throw it in the lake! Against the Raiders,
No, that was Brian Sipe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had Brian Sipe. Phipps and Sipe, they kind of have letters in there similar. But again, our condolences to the Ryan family. Frank Ryan, he was a great one. Ohio University Bobcats, they lost to Toledo in men's MAC basketball last night, 86-77. Now, the Ohio State men are back in action tonight. Big Ten play against Rutgers. And the team that I can't seem to get over the finish line, CBJ lost to the Boston Bruins last night by a score of 4-1.
It was 1-1 at one point.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah. And I thought, there's hope.
And the Bobcats had taken the lead late in the game, and then it got away from them. I think transition baskets got to them.
Right.
So, but Toledo wins there.
So go Buckeyes tonight.
Yes. Baseball news and notes for you. The Prospect League had been releasing previews of their schedule, which the whole schedule will be available tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. But as you can see on the screen there were different times today that they were going to be releasing. They have released the Alton River Dragons preview along with the Burlington Bees and the Cape Catfish. However, they were supposed to at 10:30 do the Champion City Kings, and then 11 o'clock the Chillicothe Paints. They appear to be a little behind. I've been refreshing the Facebook page to see where they come up here, but they are releasing the opening day date for these teams. Also, for all 18 teams now that are in the Prospect League, the home opener date, the first half finale, the second half opener, and the home finale and season finale for these teams. My thought was, if Champion City would have been released by the time we went on the air, we might have an insight as to what Chillicothe would be doing, because they have opened against each other, I think, the last couple of years. So the full schedule, again, released tomorrow at 11 a.m., and we'll try and make sure you get that information as soon as it comes available to us. Reds have spent $105.25 million on free agents.
Hopefully pitching.
Yes. This is according to Mark Sheldon at MLB.com. And as I was jotting down some notes from a news release he sent out yesterday, pitchers Emilio Pagan, he's one of the new guys that would be a reliever. Buck Farmer, who is back again. He was with the team last year. And someone they signed early on, the first one was Nick Martinez, and I think they spent like $45 million on him. Then they recently just gave a physical to Frankie Montas. Now, what we know about him, he's had some shoulder issues the last 2 seasons, but they brought him in for a physical, and they said, if we can get him back to what he was in 21, he was a guy that was 13-9. And had a 3.37 ERA. So that goes into, he's a starter.
Former Yankee?
He was with the A's, and then they traded him to the Yankees. And so he had pitched with, what's the guy, Mole?
Yeah, at Oakland?
Yeah. So he said, I talked with him. I talked with, I think it was Nick Martinez and somebody else. And he said, the thing about it, nobody else in the NL Central has spent money on free agents yet. And he says, what I have seen from this is the Reds are spending money and they already got something going.
Right.
Who doesn't want to be a part of that? So Montas became a part of that. But now you've got Montas, Martinez, along with Hunter Green, Grant Ashcraft, Andrew Abbott, Nick Lodolo, and Brandon Williamson. Where's that going to play out? Because they all can't be in the rotation. You can't have a 8 or 9 man rotation. That would be interesting, but I don't think they'd be conditioned for that. But then they also signed, what was his name? Candelario from the Cubs.
Yes, that's been
power hitter, first baseman, third baseman. But now you crowd that infield again. Thankfully, there's the designated hitter. Who ever thought you would say that in the National League, right? So you got McLean, you got India, you got De La Cruz, you got Marte, you got Encarnacion Strand, along with Candelario. Spencer Steer's most likely going to be the left fielder, I would think, in all that rotation.
Right.
So
and De La Cruz, even though he spent most of his time in the infield last year, with the speed and the arm, he could play in the outfield. He could probably pitch. Put him in there and throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
I did wonder if he would become the center fielder at some point in time, but the way TJ played last year, why mess with that?
Right. Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting. Things to root for again this year. Above 500 season last year. How about a pennant this year?
A little hot stove league action for you here today.
Yeah.
All right, coming up in a moment, this date in history right after these words.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Michelob Ultra.
This date in history with Mr. History, Mike Smith.
A little caveat to this. It's not actually this date. Yesterday, we made a little shuffle so we could have a Revolutionary War moment that was actually on that date.
So forgive me. Here's a moment on a day in the past.
In history. Yeah.
With Mr. History, the oldest person on our staff.
Yes.
Mike Smith.
Yes. And this is
Father
one
Time.
for LaVersa Moats, if you're watching and you were probably throwing things at the screen yesterday. Here's the one you sent me. This is from March of 1783. Many officers, discouraged by a lack of pay and financial support, began discussing disbanding the Army. We're talking about not leaving we're talking about disbanding the Army.
I would say jumping ship, but that would be the Navy.
Exactly.
So.
Well, when former General Washington learned of the conspiracy, he appeared at a meeting and challenged the officers. Towards the end of his speech, he reached into his pocket and retrieved a pair of spectacles and in a theatrical gesture remarked, quote, "I have not only grown gray, but almost blind in service to my country," unquote. This display of self-sacrifice from their long-standing leader deeply moved many of the officers, some to tears, and they abandoned their treasonous thoughts and returned to the obvious affection of their leader. How about that?
George Washington, man, he could make people move. But you know why he could make people move? Not only was he an individual who was upright, upstand, he spent a lot of time on his knees.
He did indeed.
In prayer.
He did indeed.
And I kind of wonder if at some point in time, when he was, a teenager, he was out surveying across the great unknown, which is kind of like where we are now.
Right.
And I wonder if at some point in time he didn't say, guys, this is worth fighting for. Don't you understand? I've seen all that's on the other side so far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Washington, I think, was the one, his quote was, "A democracy or a republic like what we have cannot work without God being in our lives." I mean, you think people are so down on things like, the trust of our government, the capitalistic system. Well, a lot of that does depend on good morals, good decision-making, ethics. I know people push that limit oftentimes and try to get around the rules of the game, but if you play by the rules, there's no reason why. I think I keep hearing this Dave Ramsey promo on the radio saying, all you people that say that America's, he said, this is still the greatest system in the world. What's the matter with you people?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And if you look back at it, when you think about nations who have been kind of endorsed by God, Israel and America, and how many people have written Israel off for whatever reason, just to the fact that they don't know the biblical history, and that, God said, this is my people.
Right.
And this is the land that I've given to them. And if you really be honest about it, that land was supposed to be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
A stretch across the Mideast. But things have, there's going to be one battle one day, and it's going to take place right back there.
Right back in the heart of all of that.
Yeah. All right. Tomorrow we will have a preview show for our basketball game of the week, which is Eastern at Western, and we'll have a preview of that. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with both coaches Ethan Leist and Doug Williams today to share with you on that show tomorrow at noon.
And we did record our Fairfield County Special Edition with the executive director of the Fairfield County Humane Society. And that'll be out sometime today or hopefully tomorrow.
And we appreciate Corey Schoonover for joining us earlier today in a pre-recorded. And he's also a city councilman in Lancaster.
He's got his hands full.
Chasing and herding cats and dogs.
In more ways than one.
And the city as well. So, all right, that's it for the program today. Thank you for watching. We will talk to you tomorrow. For Aaron Glandon, the silent partner this morning, along with Mike Smith, I'm Dan Ramey. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow.